that is technology agnostic and readable across global systems. So this electronic outlet graphic is a great representation of the difficulties for users when disparate systems aren't designed to be interoperable. And if anybody who's traveled internationally knows how confusing this is. So imagine that each outlet represents the language of requirements of different retailers. Now imagine being a brand that supplies these different retailers and needs to respond to POs, send invoices, and manage inventory in these different language systems. It's hard enough to imagine a big company doing so, let alone a smaller micro business. So by creating one common language, GS1 standards allow brands to leverage one knowledge base to sell to thousands of retail partners. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Megan to talk about one of the most widely used standards in the industry. Megan, take it away.
Thank you, Shane. So the system is based on the unique identification and numbering of all things in the supply chain. So that includes products, but it also includes companies, locations, and logistics units, to name a few. Once things are identified, we have standardized data carriers to capture information and standardized formats and platforms to share that information across the supply chain. In the e-commerce environment, it does really come down to the product. So the Global Trade Item Number, or GTIN, identifies a product down to its variant level. It's sometimes referred to as a UPC or an EAN as well, because it's the number you will find embedded in those barcodes. But as Shane mentioned, GS1 standards are technology agnostic, meaning you can embed that GTIN in a UPC barcode or in a web page meta tag, a marketplace listing, or even a blockchain. No matter the carrier, the GTIN will serve as the product's license plate, uniquely identifying that exact item variant in the physical and digital supply chain. Each GTIN is globally unique, never replicated, linked to the licensing company, and stored in the GS1 Global Registry. Which one of the questions that comes up a lot from Amazon sellers is, what if my GTIN didn't come from GS1 US? Well, one of the key features of the GS1 system of standards is that product's verifiability through our global registry. This allows marketplaces and retailers to confirm a product is authentic and linked to the listing company. It benefits a marketplace by eliminating listing duplication, reducing product hijacking, and improving consumer trust. A GS1 GTIN gives marketplaces and retailers one source of truth for verifying product. So we're going to talk about a couple of acronyms that often need a little bit of clarification. Is a GTIN the same as a UPC? And retailer guidelines like Amazon and Google refer to both. They're not exactly the same, and here's why. A UPC, or Universal Product Code, technically refers to the barcode, meaning the black lines and spaces seen in this image, while a GTIN is the number itself that uniquely identifies the trade item. That said, many retail partners will refer to GTINs and UPCs somewhat interchangeably, and it's such a common practice we wind up doing it here at GS1 US as well. When listing on Amazon, you're asked for a product identification number, and you're given a drop-down menu for the identifier type from which you can select. You're presented with GTIN, UPC, and EAN. Now, the number of digits within your product identification number will determine which of these types you're going to select. So if your identifier has 12 digits, select UPC. If it has 13 digits, select EAN. And if it has 14 digits, you're going to select GTIN. If you came to GS1 US or another GS1 member organization in North America, you're most likely going to be selecting UPC for your products. A request for a GTIN from a marketplace or Google might be the first place a new business owner encounters GS1 standards, and they often wonder how you get a GTIN. So we're going to show you how easy it is. But the first step is to understand how many GTINs you're going to need. So since a GTIN should be assigned at the variant level, this simple graphic can probably help you understand how you might need more GTINs than you think. So it's important to consider the future growth of your product line, the number of sizes, colors, fragrances, or flavors a product will come in. You'll also need to think about your packaging. Will you have multi-packs? Will you have specialty holiday packaging? Those would require unique GTINs. Additionally, consider how you might bundle products to create unique offerings and appeal to different customer profiles at, for example, Amazon, Walmart, or your direct-to-consumer site. Those bundles might require unique GTINs as well. So whether you look at this graphic and see a large variety of products in your future, or you only have a few items in the 5-year plan, we do have an option for you. So we have two different options for licensing GTINs. Firstly, companies can license what's called a GS1 company prefix, which will allow you to generate between 10 and 100,000 GTINs depending on the size prefix you select. And this is going to be the best choice for a well-established business, a brand with a large product assortment, or those scaling their product line quickly. The unique prefix number is also used in other GS1 identity keys like serialized shipping container codes or global location numbers, which often are required by most national retailers and might be useful as you increase your channels. But for those just starting out, since 2020, GS1 now allows businesses to license single GTINs. And these are the perfect entry point for those smaller businesses, or maybe businesses with just like a few really great products. The single option has been a game changer. And it requires a one-time payment only. There's no annual fee. So, barcodes, we're all here to talk about barcodes. So we're going to dive right in. Start off with a little fun trivia fact for you. If you go to trivia nights, the first UPC barcode was actually scanned June 26, 1974 on a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. Now, the beep of a scanned barcode is heard over 10 billion times per day. Some barcodes will carry the GTIN only. For example, when you scan a UPC at checkout, the register recognizes the GTIN and matches it to a backend system that carries more information like the price. So this allows the store to update the pricing anytime they want without any change required to the physical product itself. Other barcodes can hold additional information like a batch lot or expiration date. You probably recognize the UPC barcode, and you might also recognize the GS1 data bar from your fruit. While the UPC will store the GTIN only, some types of data bars can hold additional attributes as well. And it works similarly with the logistics barcodes. So the GS1 128 can carry additional product attributes, which would be machine readable by your fulfillment house, whereas the ITF 14 will carry the GTIN only. The GTIN in a packing list might be all I need when I'm shipping flatware, for example, but I might want my cartons to carry more information if I'm shipping food or pharmaceuticals. So we just sort of talked your ear off about some of these standards, but we want to give you a quick video on how they live in the real world on a marketplace. So here's a little bit about why marketplace locally relies on GS1 standards.
I'm a third generation local retailer. My family started in the sporting good business back in 1972 and provided service for the New Orleans area. And during that period of time, I recognized that local stores were being cut off to the online shopper. There was a gap where I've decided I want this product, but I can't see that a local store has it. That was that gap that we set out to solve. We wanted to show the customer, yes, you can order this and get it in 3 or 4 days, or you can drive a car a mile and it's available right now for you. Locally is a platform that seeks to connect online shoppers to where they can complete their purchase at a nearby store. And the GS1 standard is critical to making that possible. We all understand barcodes. We recognize those, that we all have a common number that we can connect to, the GTIN. GTINs are standard across all markets, all retailers, all industries. And so without having access to standard information, it would be a mess. It makes it so that we have a source of truth about that product. We decided that it would be foundational to the way that we connected to local stores. If you shop online and see that a particular shoe that you're looking for is in stock at your local Orleans shoe store, you could have that item waiting at the counter when you walk in the door. If you visit the Trek website, locally powers virtually every aspect of where to buy their products, and all the various different pieces of online engagement are created via locally. It makes the entire shopping experience much more convenient. So we have to use a single standard that both the retailer and the brand both are willing to adopt. And the GS1 standard is critical to making that possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. All right, so in these next couple of slides, we are going to get a little aspirational here, and we're going to focus on 2D barcodes, which everyone in this audience most likely thinks of as a QR code. The 2D barcode is on track to create a product data revolution in both B2B and B2C transactions. GS1 US is spearheading an initiative called Sunrise 2027, where major retailers are aiming to have checkout systems ready to read a 2D barcode by the year 2027. The goal is a gradual transition from the linear UPC barcode toward a data-rich 2D barcode, which can carry great information for retailers. So think expiration dates, batch lot numbers, but that barcode will be phone readable by consumers who are rapidly becoming comfortable scanning QR codes. This is going to be a great opportunity to instill all the great marketing from a brand's direct-to-consumer website into a physical product where it sits on a shelf in brick and mortar. But it's also an opportunity for a brand to speak to their customer who scans that barcode in their own home after an e-commerce purchase. The 2D barcode is powered by a GS1 standard called Digital Link that provides the structure that can marry the B2B information required at checkout with the customer-facing information brands want associated with their product. The whole goal is to make your barcode work harder for you. And this is just an example of how this barcode can send a consumer to a web page the brand wants associated with their product. So you can go ahead and scan this barcode with your phone. It works. So Del Giardino is a fictitious brand that was developed to demonstrate some great uses of Digital Link and the 2D barcode. The menu shows some simple examples of how a brand can, for example, show nutritional information or be transparent about the source or traceability of the product and offer the consumer additional recipes. But the options for what a brand wants to show are totally limitless, right? They could include your sustainability or eco designations. It could include contests, additional products you sell, how to return the item, or instructions for use. The Digital Link 2D barcode will enable these companies to blend both the checkout functionality along with this consumer-facing information into one barcode. So now I'm going to hand it back to Shane, who's going to give you some more information on our Data Hub tool, which is a free benefit that all GS1 US members have access to, but you may not be using today. Shane?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Great job. So now you know how GS1, GTINs, and barcodes came into being and how to get it. And now you know how to get a GTIN. But you might be asking yourself, well, how do I set up a GTIN and actually get my barcode? In fact, one of the most common questions our member services team receives is, I don't know how, they sign up to get their GTIN, but then they call in or email in and saying, I don't know how to get my barcodes. So what I'm going to do is give you a quick overview of this Data Hub tool, which you may or not know about. This is a free benefit brands receive when licensing a prefix or a single GTIN. In Data Hub, businesses can set up products. You can assign GTINs to each one. And yes, you can print your barcodes from this tool. Think of it as a management tool that can help your business ensure accuracy when creating your GTINs. You can also assign standardized core attributes that can live with your products through their lifetime. And it does have an export functionality, so you can use this information within your internal systems, your internal product catalogs, or share it with your trading partners or your factories, et cetera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through a few screenshots of what this tool looks like. And then if, based on these screenshots, Jamie and Joey, if you like it, we would love to come back and actually do a live demo. We used to just show this slide and then we're like, well, we should show 3 screenshots and now we're doing the live demos. But so if you want to have us back, we'd love to come back and do this. But I'll just give you a kind of a brief overview of what it looks like. So it doesn't matter if you license a single GTIN or a prefix, you're going to receive an email to set up your My GS1 US account, which will give you access to Data Hub. So once you create your account, you'll see a tab for Data Hub. And when you log in, this is going to be your homepage. So it's a dashboard and it's going to show you, how many GTINs you have available and how many have been used. So if this is the first time signing in, and you licensed a 10 prefix, capacity of 10, you'll see that you have 10 available and nothing's been used. The other thing I just like to point out on this slide, just a couple of useful hints is if you ever have a need to print off your GS1 certificate to show seller support, you can do that right here from this tool as well. So just print my identifier certificate, so prefix or single. And you can also just, if you needed to get another single GTIN or another prefix, you can do it right from there as well. But what we're going to show you today is just basically how to set up a one product. So in order to start, what you would do is you can either go over here from this dashboard page to product, or this purple bubble is going to be on the first couple of pages. And that's for if you're brand new, it's just help me get my barcode and it will prompt you the whole way. So as soon as you select product, you're going to come to this screen. Now, if you have been in here before, all the products that you have assigned G10s or that are in work are going to populate down here. If you've never been in, this will be blank. And so what you would do from this page is just go over here to the right and say add new product, or again, press the bubble and it's gonna guide you through. So once you put add new product, the first thing that it's going to ask, so again, I guess I need to make a clarification. When you license a single G10, it automatically goes in use. So this page would show up with the information that you populated when you licensed it. If you license a prefix, you're going to have to put the information in here. So either way, and then if you got the single, you would come to this page and you could modify the data if you needed to, and then add more. It only asks you a few questions when you do that single. So some of these fields are required, and I'll explain what those are. So the first one that's going to be required is they just want a product description. And this is a required field, but it's more of a functional description that you can share with your marketplaces and retailers. It's not necessarily a marketing description. We do have a best practice to, when you truncate this information, is we just say, put the brand name, what the variable is, what the product is, and what the content. So in this case, it's Tasty's brand name, variable is strawberry, the product is jam, and the content is 16 ounce. So that's, how we do it. Language, obviously, if you're in the US, it would be English. And then brand name. So brand name is not going to be your legal entity, but this is the brand that you're setting up for. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. And then obviously language, again, whatever language you're setting this up in. Those 4 fields are required. These other fields are not, but we always say, I use this tool when I was a head of a brand. And I input a lot of the information in this tool and then export it and use that kind of as the core starting point for our internal product catalog. This industry is just a drop down. So this is just and this is for us to classify what industry you're in. There's 5 choices when you drop down: CPG, apparel, general, healthcare, or food service. So you're most likely going to fall under CPG, general, or apparel. Don't select healthcare unless you're truly healthcare, because you're going to end up on the FDA's website, and then it's going to kind of change the course of how you go through Data Hub. The SKU that's going to be your proprietary SKU. And I think this is always a good idea to put your information in there, because once you start getting a lot of data on that screen that we looked at before, sometimes it's easier as a brand to kind of identify what that item is through your proprietary SKU. It's like, what that is. Packaging level, if we're just setting up one product, it's going to be each, and then you're going to want to select yes for purchasable by consumer, and that's just defaulted to yes, and you would have to turn that off if it was no. So once you have that core information set up, you're going to come to this, you hit save and continue, you're going to come here, and this is where you're going to actually assign your G10 to this product. Now, you get 3 choices, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to talk to you about the most common choice that's used, and that is, let us assign your G10. If you select that, if you have a prefix, it's going to populate, and then it's just going to randomly assign a G10 that you have available to your product. Again, if we come back, we can go through these other 2, but this is the most commonly one used. So you would do that. It's going to assign your G10 to the product that you just created. Now, the only other words of advice I have here is that before you hit save and continue, just be sure you're good, because once that G10 is assigned to your product, you can still modify product information, but you can't disassociate that G10 with the product. It's going to be used. And so just, make sure you're doing the right thing. So let's say you are doing the right thing, you hit save and continue, and you're going to come to this page, which is, again, just additional product information. It's enhanced product information. These fields aren't necessarily required. You can put an image URL, global product classification code. That's another GS1 standard. Again, we can get into that when we come back for the live demo, see how I kind of just keep working in that we're coming back. Net content, unit of measure, and then down here is target market, where you plan on selling this product. So if you're a seller that's actually in different markets, you can select more than one: US, Mexico, Germany. And then you can also, if you're listing products in different languages, you can put, product description and then what language that's going to be in. So, you're going to finish that information. You're going to hit save and continue. And then this is the last page that you're going to come to. Now, this is just asking for product dimensions and weight, but we all know that on all online platforms for this, they all ask for this information in order to list. So what I just say, why not put it in here? So once you put your information in, you've got a couple of different options, and you can actually do these options on any of the other pages. So as soon as you assign that GTIN to your product that we did 2 screens ago, your product is going to move from draft into pre-market. So it's not published. In order to publish that GTIN or make it live, so if you list on Amazon, when they verify that listing with our database, it needs to be set in use. And you can do that again at any stage right here. As long as that GTIN is assigned, you set status to in use, you can still modify information. The other thing you can do is if you needed to, now let's say you want to see that physical barcode, that you're actually putting barcodes on your packaging, you're not using the FN SKU. You can select view barcode, and what's going to happen is you're going to come here. There's just 3 drop downs in order to view it. So the first one is application area. So that's basically saying what kind of barcode is it for retail? Is it for shipping? It's going to be for retail. What kind of barcode? If you licensed it in US, it's going to be a UPC-A, and then the size. And there's 3 options there. As soon as you select those, you just hit preview barcode, and you're going to see it right here. So you'll see your barcode. You can see, it'll be in PNG. You can download that barcode. You could actually export it into an Avery label template. And then down here, this is an export definition. So that comes out as a CSV file that you could share with your factory. So again, very high level demo, but this tool, it's got a lot of functionality that I obviously this was quick. What I love about this tool is you can actually create case pack barcodes, which your 3PL or FBA are going to love in this tool. So it's got a lot of functionality. So if you have access, go in and check it out. And you're going to see our contact information pop up here in a few slides. If you have any questions about it, always reach out. And Megan, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Sure thing. And before, I'm going to go ahead and summarize, but before we do that, we had a question, Shane, come in from William. And the question is, do you have to have different GTIN barcodes for different countries or the same one? So I think so global trade item numbers are globally interoperable, meaning you can license them here at GS1 US, and you can use them globally anywhere you want. The only thing to keep in mind is depending on the type of product, you might create a slightly different variant for a different market, right? You might have different packaging requirements or different language or certification requirements that might require you to have a new GTIN. And that would be, for example, if you're selling in the EU, there might be certain things that are required to be on your packaging that wouldn't be the same in the US, plus your language might be different. And so therefore you might want to create a different GTIN for the EU version based on that. It's kind of dependent, but if you're in apparel, right, you probably have all the same information on your tags for every market you're in. And in that case, you would use the same, but generally it's going to be totally globally interoperable. So acceptable anywhere across the world. Okay. And then, all right, so let's go ahead and we'll close out, and then Evan, we see your question coming in, and we'll field any other questions as well. So, for online businesses, the GS1 standards definitely bridge the gap between the physical and digital worlds. In the increasingly crowded and endless aisle, search engines, marketplaces, shopping engines, and retailers rely on the GS1 GTIN for the millions of products they are indexing in order to accurately identify and return search results to the consumer. So here are a few of the critically important points about why your business should be using GTINs. So firstly, associating a GTIN with your product listing on Google significantly improves impressions and conversions and boosts your SEO. A GS1 issued GTIN is required to list on many marketplaces, including Amazon for many products, along with most large brick and mortar retailers. understanding and utilizing GS1 logistics standards like the GS1 128 barcode, which you can make in Data Hub, and the serialized shipping container code will ease your entry into global logistics. And finally, one common product identifier that works everywhere is a powerful tool for uniting your sales and inventory data across all of your various channels and systems. Thank you guys so much for having us here today. On this slide, we have a series of resources available. You can always feel free to reach out to our incredible member services team. They're available by phone or by email. They're real people. They pick up the phone usually in less than a minute. No frustrating phone tree. They're super knowledgeable and amazing. So if you ever have any questions, you don't hesitate, reach out to them. We have this one trademark notice, and then Shane and I are going to throw our contact information up there as well. So you can always feel free to reach out to one of us if we can, help you with a more specific question. And then we'll feel free to field any questions that come in the chat. So we have one from Evan. My factory was given my GTIN. They made barcodes with it was 12 digits, and they made barcodes with 13 digits. Somehow they added a number on the end of my GTIN. Do I need to relabel?
Most likely. So if you had the GTIN 12, I mean, what we would love to do is see it. But yes, I mean, if you licensed your product identifiers from your prefix or here in the United States, that it should be 12 digits. It shouldn't be 13. It's interesting that you bring that up because an EAN barcode is going to be 13. That's what they use pretty much everywhere else except for North America. I've been in this business a long time, and there was a common practice when you sold into Europe, you would put a 0 in front of your 12-digit barcode, and that worked for a while. It doesn't really anymore. So yeah, I would think that if you license that prefix from the US, you should take a look at it. And again, if we're happy to take a look at it for you. You know what I mean?
And my big concern too in that spot would be that you could bump up against someone who had that EAN.
Yeah.
There could be someone on Amazon that legitimately has that number already. The odds of it are, it could happen, and they would be the rightful owner of that EAN. So it sounds like, it's your factory made a mistake, and hopefully they can help you out with that. Yeah, so see that EAN is registered to another company. So that could cause problems for you. I think you're probably better off relabeling. But again, we're happy to kind of talk about it with you further as well offline if, get into the details. Evan has a second question, looks like, and I don't know if there's anyone else that has a question, please feel free to put them in the chat too.
Waiting for that question to fully come in.
That's
here.
Right.
Looks like
He's formulating it.
It's the suspense.
I was going to say also that, the way some of these the way a GTIN is calculated, that's the beauty of doing it in Data Hub, just is creating them in there or having it assign it, because they're going to be accurate every time.
Yeah, and for those that are a little bit new, when you license a prefix, you don't get like a list of your 100 GTINs. It's actually sort of a formula to create your GTINs, and that's what Data Hub will do for you to make sure you don't have any mistakes in your GTINs. Okay, I started with a company and you started another one. You registered your GTINs with my first company. Can I change the company name, legal entity without issue?
Yeah, so if you own that prefix, you can change your legal entity within GS1 US. If you've changed it, yes, there's a form for that. It's through member services. Absolutely.
And it's another great point, which is that in your My GS1 account, one of the things we hear a lot is if somebody lets their contact information go out of date, and then we struggle to kind of get you back in and get you started. So it's always a great idea to sort of check in every once in a while, or if you make any changes to your company contact to keep that updated in our system. That's always very helpful and saves you a little time in the long run.
Awesome. Okay. Really good questions. So let's see if, yeah, Evan, great.
Jamie or Joey, did you guys have any questions that we didn't answer in our presentation?
I thought it was really thorough to the point. So it was good. I don't have any see Mary Kay said I think she has a question too.
Okay.
Read it. She says
Yeah,
I
we
have,
got it here.
got it. I'll read it out loud for everyone anyways. I have a brand on Amazon and used a G10 and GS1, but similar products. After I realized Amazon didn't need it, I just got exempt. But is there a benefit to stay using the G10?
Yeah, I mean, I would say from the Amazon perspective, I think the big benefit there is, that G10 from us, you do have that GS1 certificate that says this G10 belongs to me. So if you have sort of some of a hijacking issue or something, maintaining that G10 in there, you already have it. It feels like a tool, hopefully you never need, but just in case you do, it's like one extra step in proving that you are the owner of that brand.
Yeah. And then scalability, that's always our recommendation is that, if I think a lot of them, I don't know if a lot of Amazon sellers know it or not, but that the e-commerce environment has become a huge platform where retail buyers are now searching for products. You know what I mean? And they don't have to go to a show anymore. They can go on to e-commerce, see what brands are doing well. They can get verifiable data. Yes, these products sell. So, but one of their first requirements, whether it be online or in brick and mortar, is going to be that you comply with particular GS1 standards, and having that G10 associated is going to be the first one.
And if you're looking to eventually, exit and sell as well for whoever the buyer is, that's going to be a step in their ability to grow it if they want to, go to other marketplaces or bring it retail. So having it in place, is might increase your valuation potentially if, since you're sort of ready to go.
Yeah.
Great point. It's like a part of your asset value. It's
Exactly.
really good. Yeah. Awesome. Let us know any other final questions. I think otherwise we will look to wrap it up, and we'll have the recording available in your guys' membership area for our active members there. And really, really good info here. So yeah, I appreciate you both sharing, and Joey is here with me as well still too, but awesome. Joey, anything else on your end?
No, I thought it was really good, very informative. And just so everybody knows, you can rewatch this in your membership area. It may take us about 24 hours to get the replay in there, but this will definitely be in there.
Cool. Another question came in. Yeah. So everyone says, do you need this I'll read this because it was only sent to the hosts and panelists. Do you need this if you are just starting with your first product?
I mean, I think on Amazon, it's, again, there are some categories that you could get an exemption for. So, it definitely depends. For the most part, most categories now, I think it's going to be required across the board. But, even if you're just doing the one product, maybe that single G10 is the best choice for you. $30 one time, you're done.
Right.
That might be the best option. But, I think that the reality is that most likely it will be required. We can't promise, but. And then I think there was a question, if you want to sell your business, how do you initially register then? From Debbie. So I think that the registration process, is sort of the same. It's an e-commerce transaction on our website. You can easily come. In order to sell your business, there is a mergers and acquisitions process. When you're the person acquiring your business will come. You fill out a form. They fill out a form, and it's pretty straightforward.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. If there's any other questions, ask now. And then also please put in the chat if you found this helpful and if you learned something today. I definitely did. Really appreciate you guys coming on. always good to refresh on barcodes. Not always. You guys made it really fun though. It was really interesting to learn, even though it's like, not the coolest topic for selling, but it was fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate
really
everybody's
appreciate it.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's put what's the website? Is it just
Oh, yeah.
gs.com?
.org.
.org, that's right.
And it's
I'll put
for
it in.
US, it's going to be gs1us.org.
Yep, there it
That's
is. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, good question, Lori. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you guys so much, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.